Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Ruck Roll. Alright, it's the second day of my 4-day weekend this week, and honestly I expected that I was going to spend most or all of this weekend working in the garage, because I figured it was going to take me, several days at least to kind of get everything back to the point where I get the car in the garage, because that was ultimately the priority. But the truth is I got everything pretty much done yesterday. I got some unpacking to do still out there, but the truth is I can get to everything now, which is the important thing. So I can kind of pick away at this a little bit at a time and get it done. So I think I'm going to probably kind of take it easy a little bit today and move back into the house, and let's get the rest of the living room unpacked. I think there's maybe we can get some shelves put up and get some things put up and on the walls and stuff like that, make the place look a little bit more like a home. Then maybe we'll go back out into the garage tomorrow and or Wednesday, because there's a funny little tropical storm right now brewing in the Gulf of Mexico that's supposed to bring us some rain tomorrow and the next day. And honestly, working out in the garage when it's rainy out, it's going to be a little nicer than being when it's in the 90s like it is today. So let's get going with that. And oh boy, does this pool look inviting. We'll definitely take a few dips in here today. Oh, and I unpacked a few of a little yard knickknacks over the last few days. So things like this have been placed in the yard. And that's going to be Flash's summer home when she finally gets here. And there's the palm trees. Palm trees are doing okay. Maple tree had a little bit of a tough time, but I think we saved that. It's going to be doing fine. It seems to be thriving here. The one plumeria that kind of survived the year, that's doing well, and I'm happy with that. And of course we got our other palm tree here. I think at some point these are going to go into the ground, probably sooner than later. I'm kind of thinking maybe over in this corner over here would be a good place for them. It would kind of cover up that telephone pole a little bit, and I think that would be a good place for them to grow and be healthy, because they'll get a lot of afternoon sun right here, which is what they're going to like. And this is kind of an ugly corner anyway, right? So yeah, I think at some point that's where the palm trees will go. Haven't decided where the plumeria or the maple tree are going to go yet, but we'll play that by ear. I've also decided that in the very immediate future I'm going to rip out this patio cover area, or well, not the patio cover itself, but the stonework on the ground. This just isn't working. To begin with, it isn't sloped right. So what ends up happening, I think what happened is that this was probably original or more original, and then it appears that this section on here was added afterwards. The problem is, though, that when they added it, they didn't grade it right. So what ends up happening is water tends to accumulate right here, because this is kind of the low spot, and it pools there, and that's why all the grouting in between the rocks is coming apart. And it just, it isn't, I'm going to go ahead and say it. That's not how it's done. So I think very, very quickly we're going to just basically rip out all of this and just replace it with concrete. And I'm also going to take out this path and put a concrete path out to the pool. I actually like the kind of meandering path that it takes getting there. So we'll probably follow the exact path that currently exists. But I want to get that stone out of here. When it's dark and you're trying to, work your way out to the pool at night, it's dangerous. And I also kind of disagree with some of the stone they used here. I think this stone is largely sedimentary rock, and that's like sand and mud that have flattened down into a flat rock. The problem with that is over time those individual layers tend to break apart, and you can see a lot of that's happening. The grouting between the individual stones is coming apart. There's a few of these. This stone right here is actually loose. It's bouncing up and down. I'm sure most of the rest of them are doing that too. So I think, like I said, we'll just remove the whole thing, have them make it as a single piece, and have it grade the right way. It's going to be a little complicated because the yard is sloping down this way anyway, so we have to kind of get it to the point where this low spot is higher than the low spot there, so that everything doesn't kind of accumulate on the patio. But I'll leave that up to the experts. This is definitely going to be one of those things I don't do on my own, because I can do a lot of things, but you got to know what your limits are, and this is one of those things, you don't do it right, you're going to have problems with it. And these are kind of the boxes that I want to unpack today, and I think these are just a lot of little knick-knack things that I'm going to just need to find a place for. And the beauty is I got all sorts of shelf brackets, because the truth is when I put the shelves in the cat room, I bought brand new brackets for that. Brand new shelves and brand new brackets. So you know, what I'll do is, you know, I've still got all those old shelf brackets, and I'll probably, you know, put shelves on the wall in here and hang things on there. So let's unpack this stuff and see where it leads us. All right, so I found the chessboard that goes with the chess pieces. That's good news. And I think I want to get that thing set up. So what I'm going to do is, there's this table here that I've had in the garage for many, many years. In fact, I've had it in the garage for so many years, I've actually lost the bolts that bolt the two pieces together. So I'm going to run over to Home Depot and get that, and then we're going to set the chess board up, and I think that will live on this table. It used to live on this table over here, but since this is going to now be kind of the kitchen table here, we're going to have to change things up a little bit. I also found the beer steins that I had gotten for many years, and I'll tell you more about those a little later. But we're gonna hang those two shelves right there, and then the beer steins and the clock are gonna go on those. All right, I'm back from Home Depot. I actually elected to go with bolts. They're a little bit larger than what I need, because I don't know what kind of screws they were and how many times they were inserted and removed, and sometimes when you remove the screws a whole bunch of times, you kind of strip out the thread. So by going with some larger bolts, I'm definitely going to make sure that we're going to not have stripped out bolt problems, but this also means that I'm going to have to kind of drill out my holes a little bit. So we're going to start with that. So I finally kind of got everything away from this wall. So I think next thing I want to do is decorate this wall. And one of the things I found in this last group of boxes was a lot of photos and stuff. These are the kinds of things that I had like hanging in the stairwell of my house in California. And I think I kind of want to put them all together. A lot of this is kind of interesting because it's family. You know, it's my niece and nephew when they were a little younger. That's my grandparents when they're married at their wedding. That's my other grandparents at about their wedding. This is all stuff that kind of came from all of those photos that I showed you a few weeks ago that I had gotten from my sister. And when my parents got those, they kind of made, you know, photos of all of the great-grandparents, because I never met any of them. So in this collection here are photos going all the way back to great-grandparents on both sides. And I think that'd be a perfect thing to have on this wall here. So I think we're going to do that, but the first thing we got to do is we got to patch up some nail holes here. Now I have these two shelves that I'm going to put on this wall here, and ultimately I want them kind of like right here on the wall up top there. And I'm going to put the clock and the beer steins on that. So I got to leave room for that, but I'm going to kind of keep everything probably about 6 inches down from the door frame, because then I have enough room above the door frame for the clock and for the beer steins. So once again, I got all the nail holes patched here. These were just tiny little nail holes, so this will dry real quick. So actually, these were the first ones I did, and then I did this one down here. This one was, they used a couple of drywall anchors, so obviously they had something a little bit larger attached there. And since there's a little bit more compound in that, that's going to take a little while to dry, but so I'm not going to do anything with that, but I can definitely sponge this off now because this is ready to go. Alright, so I kind of got the photos sorted by generation here. These photos over here are the great-grandparents, and these two here are the parents of my grandparents on my dad's side. These are my great-grandparents on my mom's side. So that's my grandparents at about their wedding. And then we get to my generation. So that's my parents. These are all photos that I believe, well, actually no, this one's a bit earlier. But these two photos were shot around the time of my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. In fact, the year that they celebrated their 50th anniversary by going to a place called what's called Paradise Point now, down in San Diego on Mission Bay, but it used to be called Vacation Village, and our family would go there a whole bunch of times when my sister and I were younger. It was like a big 43-acre island with a bunch of like trails and little bungalows that you could stay in, and there was a really fun place, and there was beaches all around it, and so that was a real great time. And we and they took my parents took us all there for their wedding anniversary. So that's actually shot on one of the docks in the middle of one of the little lakes that are in the property there. And then, you know, just photos of them. And then we get down to my sister's kids, and these are all kind of old photos because Sean, the boy, now is what, in his early 20s, and Megan's just a couple years younger. They're both moved out of the house now. So, but I don't know, maybe we'll get some more recent photos. You know, these are when they were playing sports and just being kids. But you know what, that's what I got right now, and that's kind of how I want to put these on the wall, kind of in this order here. Yeah, it's coming together. A couple more generations to go, we'll be all set up. All right, so I get that all together. I think it turned out pretty good. I definitely made a lot of use of the laser level because that helped me keep my lines straight. Basically, I wanted everything just kind of on a center axis, and I got it all basically sorted by generation. So I got great-grandparents here, grandparents here, parents and family, immediate family here, and then my niece and nephew over here. So I think that's all that I have for today. I think, like I said, this turned out really well. I'm very happy with the results, and we'll continue on this tomorrow. I'm going to put the shelves up over here, but I got to go to Home Depot to get the screws, because that's something else I lost the screws for. So that happens, and you know how much I hate going to Home Depot. So anyway, I think that is all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.